60 Minutes Overtime.
On September 11, 2001, thousands of altruistic men and women rushed to downtown Manhattan carrying little more than a sense of duty. They departed the toxic rubble as heroes, but valor came at a cost.
I will encounter people I have worked with, former colleagues in the police department, and when they mention so-and-so passed away from such cancer, you stop and think, and you remember, and can weigh on your mind. Any pain?
Today, nurse practitioner Bruno Valenti and registered nurse Stephen Lengyel treat those who responded to the terrorist attack. 20 years ago, the now retired New York police sergeants stood beside them.
Any allergies to medication?
No.
Well, the patients that come, a lot of police officers, a lot of construction workers. I understand kind of what they're going through, some of them.
At roughly 9 a.m. on the day of the attack, Stephen Lengyel recalled being in a patrol van 12 miles north of the World Trade Center.
As we were talking, looking out the window, we noticed another explosion.
You have a second plane into the other tower of the Trade Center, major fire.
They instructed us to get as close as we can to the Trade Center and set up a command post and wait there until the rest of the unit arrives. And we geared up and we started walking towards the World Trade Center, and that's when the first tower fell. When the smoke cleared a little bit, we started to walk towards the debris, and we set up a security perimeter. I think we were there for probably the next month and a half, 2 months.
On 9/11, Bruno Valenti said his commanding officer placed the unit on standby, held back in case of more attacks. 3 days later, he saw ground zero.
I remember when we arrived, it was dark as we came out of the Battery Tunnel, looking to see all the smoke, and then arriving at the site of the collapse. It was a surreal experience. You know, you looked at it and you thought, this can't be happening. We were assigned to the bucket brigade on top of the pile, and we were designated to start a chain, collecting evidence and passing it back.
I think that once you begin to take care of a remarkable group of people, it becomes part of you.
I saw that report from...
At Stony Brook Medicine, Dr. Benjamin Luft sees it every day. Since we met him a decade ago, the number of patients that pass through his World Trade Center Health and Wellness program is still increasing.
Some diseases are just progressions, but there are other diseases that begin to develop because those toxins that they had inhaled 20 years ago affected their bodies.
I have rhinitis, sinusitis. I have squamous basal cell cancer. I had several surgeries already. Is it related to 9/11? Could be. It happened, started up right after that.
We knew what carcinogens they were exposed to. And so there was the rational belief that, well, if you're exposed to something that's going to cause you cancer, it's most likely to cause cancer into the future, even though you might not have it at that moment. Now we're starting to see the manifestations of that. The same thing with cognitive issues. So then we could do some very sophisticated testing.
A Stony Brook study found nearly 15% of 9/11 survivors and first responders show early signs of cognitive decline, a rate 3 times higher than expected when compared to similarly aged patients from the general population. Compensation for non-physical injuries is not covered by the Zadroga Act, the federal law that aids 9/11 survivors and first responders.
In order for it to be covered, it needs to go through a process through the National Institute of Occupational Safety and Health. Our data is very strong that the cognitive dysfunction that we're seeing in our patients is related to 9/11. And I believe, after appropriate consideration by NIOSH, that it will ultimately be certifiable and that these patients will get the care that they deserve.
There are people that are still sick, and there are people dying from the exposure related to the World Trade Center attacks, but also know there are programs such as this one out here helping the responders and to always support efforts in regards to continuing providing benefits to all those that responded.
To be heroic is not for free. There's a piece of them that they left behind at 9/11. And this is something that they live with.